out. She whimpered, clutching her forehead. Her best friend, Theo, immediately turned back, concern flashing across his face. Why, are you okay? He crouched slightly to meet her gaze, his brows furrowed with worry. The two were on their way to the classroom when a group of popular girls, Sujin, Harry, and Minji, blocked the hallway. Their smiles hinted at mischief. Oops, did someone trip? She said mockingly, covering her mouth as if stifling a laugh. Before Wine could respond, Minji stepped forward, deliberately sticking her foot out. Wine, too focused on walking beside Theon, didn't notice and stumbled, bumping her forehead against his back with a soft touch. Hey, he snapped, spinning around to glare at the girls. What's your problem? Can't you act like decent human beings for once? The girls exchanged amused looks, completely unbothered by his anger. Relax, Opa, it was just a joke, she said with a sarcastic tilt of her head. Wine pouted, rubbing her forehead. What is this behavior? You guys are so mean. Young looked ready to launch into another argument, but Wine tugged at his sleeve, shaking her head. Play with tea, it's not worth it. She said softly, her voice a mix of frustration and disappointment. Reluctantly, Tim stepped back, shooting one last glare at the girls before turning to Wine. Come on, let's go to class. As they walked away, the girls stood near the lockers, gossiping and laughing, clearly proud of themselves. Suddenly, their chatter died down as a tall, cold, yet strikingly handsome man strode toward the lockers. His sharp jawline, piercing gaze made it impossible not to stare. It was John Jungkook. He opened his locker with a swift motion, pulling out a stack of neatly arranged books. The girls exchanged giddy looks, nudging each other. Oh my god, he's even hotter up close. She whispered loudly enough for him to hear. Sujin, the boldest of the three, stepped forward, flipping her hair. Hi, Jungkook, can I help you? Jungkook didn't even glance at her. He simply shut his locker with a sharp click, his expression colder than ice. No, his voice was deep and curt, carrying an unmistakable finality. The girls blinked in disbelief. Stunned by the rejection, Jungkook adjusted his back strap and walked away. Leaving them behind without a second glance, Sujin huffed, crossing her arms. Ah, what's his problem? Harry shrugged, still watching his retreating figure. Doesn't matter. He's perfect even if he's rude. The classroom was abuzz with whispers the moment Jungkook entered. He was the heartthrob of the college, his stoic demeanor and sharp features only adding to his allure. However, Jungkook's cold personality kept everyone at a distance. No one dared to approach him unnecessarily. Jungkook was already married. The secret was known only to Wine, Jungkook, and Tim. Jungkook walked to his usual seat at the back, just behind Wine's chair. As always, Tim sat beside her, chatting animatedly. Jungkook didn't join in, he narrated. Instead, he quietly opened his notebook and prepared for the lecture. The professor wrapped up the lecture and left for the break, leaving the students to relax. Wine, her usual bubbly self, swiveled in her chair to face Jungkook. Jungkook, ah, she called sweetly, leaning slightly toward him, her doe eyes sparkling. What do you want to eat? Think and I can bring it for you. Jungkook barely glanced at her. rolling his eyes in exasperation. It was her routine to fuss over him during breaks, insisting on taking care of him. Nothing, just leave me alone. He replied curtly, his voice laced with annoyance despite his tone. Wine wasn't that. She parted, ignoring the envious stares of the other girls in the class. They hated how easily she spoke to Jungkook, especially since he never allowed anyone else to get close. Come on, tell me, Mr. Coldy, you need strength to keep up that frosty attitude. She teased, grinning. Jungkook's expression darkened slightly as he met her gaze. Are you going or should I? Wine cut him off quickly, laughing nervously. Okay, okay, I will bring your favorite banana. Hey, let's go. Jungkook let out an audible sound, rolling his eyes again as he watched her leave with you. His jaw tightened as an unfamiliar pang of jealousy settled in his chest. One was always with you. And although Jungkook would never admit it, it bothered him. Left alone in the class, Jungkook opened his notebook, focusing on solving a complex math problem. He welcomed the solitude. It was a rare moment of peace. However, the peace didn't last long. A new student, a girl named Mira, had just joined the college today. From the moment she saw Jungkook, she was smitten. His cold demeanor only enthused her more, and she was determined to win his attention. Mira found her chance when she noticed Jungkook sitting alone. With a confident stride, she approached him, her lips curving into that she thought was her most alluring smile. Hi, Jungkook, right? She asked, leaning slightly over his desk. Jungkook didn't bother looking up, his pen moving steadily across the page. What do you want? He asked bluntly, his voice volt off any want. Mira hesitated for a moment but quickly recovered. I was thinking we could get to know each other better. You seem interesting. Finally, Chonguk looked up, his sharp gaze meeting hers. The icy coldness in his eyes made her falter. I'm not interested. His tone was clipped, his focus already returning to his notebook. Mira blinked, clearly not used to being dismissed so quickly. She lingered for a moment, hoping he would say something else, but Jungkook didn't spare her another glance. Embarrassed and frustrated, she walked away, her cheeks burning. Jungkook smirked faintly to himself, his annoyance fading. He didn't need distractions, especially once that thought taken. Mm. At the college entrance, Wine and Jungkook stood together, waiting for Tim to finish saying goodbye. See you tomorrow. He waved, a bright smile on his face. But she chirped back, waving enthusiastically. As Ting walked away, Wine and Chung turned to leave as well. But before they could take a step, Mira appeared, her expression carefully composed. Excuse me, Jungkook. She began, her tone sweet yet calculated. Can I use your phone for a moment? My battery is dead and I need to call my dad. He has not arrived yet. Chungam paused, his sharp gaze shifting to Wine. You can use hers. He sighed nonchalantly, his tone dismissive. Mira's smile faltered, her carefully laid plan beginning to unravel. Oh, sorry, she stammered. scratching the back of her neck awkwardly. Mine is dead too. I was in such a rush this morning, I didn't have time to charge it. Hehe. Chongo clicked his tongue softly, leaning closer to Wine. Careless. Without another word, he pulled out his phone, swiftly unlocking it before handing it to Mira. Mira masked her irritation with a polite smile. Accepting the phone, she quickly dialed a number, her own. Her plan was simple to get Jungkook's number without him suspecting, to keep the ruse alive. She muted her phone so it wouldn't ring. Avoiding any suspicion, holding the phone to her ear, she pretended to listen. After a moment, she sighed and handed it back. I think he's on the way. Thanks for letting me use it. She said sweetly, her eyes lingering on Jungkook's indifferent expression. He didn't respond. Sliding his phone back into his pocket, Wine and Jungkook turned and left together, leaving Mira standing at the entrance. As she watched them walk together, Mira's expression darkened, her polite facade slipping. I will make you mine, Jungkook. Just wait and see. At night, Wine stood in the kitchen, finishing the last touches of dinner. The aroma filled the cozy apartment, but her heart felt strangely heavy tonight. After plating the food, she wiped her hands on her apron and headed toward the room to call Jungkook. The faint sound of running water from the bathroom told her he was in the shower. She hesitated for a moment before turning to leave. But the soft chime of a message notification stopped her in her tracks. Her gaze shifted to Jungkook's phone, laying on the bedside table. Curiosity got the better of her, and she picked up the device. The screen lit up, displaying a message. How are you, honey? Don't you miss me? Her heart sank as the words blurred in her teary eyes. Who is this person calling my husband honey? Is he having an affair? No, no, but he's always so cold toward me. Is it because he likes someone else? The bathroom door suddenly creaked open and wine jolted. Quickly placing the phone back on the table, she hastily wiped her tears, trying to compose herself. Dinner is ready. She said weakly, her voice trembling despite her efforts. Jungkook, now drying his hair with a towel, barely glanced at her. Hmm, he muttered in acknowledgement. Wine nodded and quickly left the room, unable to hold back her emotions any longer. At the dining table, Wine sat quietly, her foot idly pushing the food around her plate. She didn't utter a word, which was unusual for her. Normally, she would chatter endlessly, filling the silence with her bubbly personality. Tonight, however, she was a shadow of her usual self. Jungkook's sharp eyes didn't miss her muted demeanor. His brow furrowed slightly as he observed her. Why is she so quiet? Maybe she's on her period, but he didn't ask. He wasn't the type of guy to pray, especially when it came to Wine's emotions. Instead, he silently finished his meal and excused himself, heading back to the room Wine stayed behind, staring at her untouched plate. Her thoughts spiraling. Jungkook entered his room, picked up his phone, and read the text. Rolling his eyes, he deleted the message. He was used to girls fawning over him, but he wasn't the type to indulge in it. As he typed something on his phone, Wine entered and saw him. Is he texting her? He seemed so focused. He never texts me like that. She pouted, feeling a pang of something she couldn't explain. Quietly, she climbed onto the bed and lay down, staring at him from a distance. Jungkook finished typing and put his phone down. He turned toward her, noticing her usual silence. What's wrong? Wine didn't answer, immediately her gaze shifting toward the ceiling. She then suddenly sat up, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Without a word, she crawled over to him and kissed him firmly on his lips. And may I ask what that was for? Wine pulled back slightly, but her arms remained around his neck, keeping him close. That I don't want anyone else near you. She muttered softly, not quite meeting his gaze. Oh, am I going somewhere? He asked with a teasing smile, though there was a faint curiosity in his voice. He pulled her closer, his hand resting gently on her waist. Wine didn't respond but kissed him again, her lips lingering longer this time, as if to reassure herself. Jungkook smirked slightly, then gently pulled her down to lie beside him. They fell asleep in each other's arms, the unspoken tension between them lingering in the quiet room. The next day, they arrived at college and Theon greeted Wine with a bright smile. Hello, my beautiful girl. Jungkook rolled his eyes, a small frown crossing his face. He and his girl, his eyes suddenly widened. Wait, did he just call Wine his girl? She is not your girl. Go and find yours. Wine pouted, playfully nudging him. Don't behave like that. He was just kidding. Pyong smirked and hugged Wine. Jungkook walked ahead, heading toward the classroom. Wine and Pyong followed him inside. The professor had not arrived yet, but Mira walked in. Jungkook, can I sit beside you? I don't own the whole class. Sit wherever you want. Mira smiled, but it quickly faded. Wine, trying to be polite, offered her seat. Wait, you can sit here. I will sit with him. No, she bluntly replied, sitting next to Jungkook. Instead, Wine glanced at Jungkook, hoping he would say something, but he didn't. The professor arrived and the class started. During the lecture, Mira chatted animatedly with Jungkook. Jungkook, let's go to the canteen. Okay, they stood up and walked toward the door, leaving Vine and Theung sitting at their desks. He never goes with us, but he went with her. It's unfair. Vine's eyes welled up with tears. Hey, don't cry. You should have fought for him. You know, he ignores me, never asks if I am okay, but someone texted him yesterday calling him honey, and he replied so attentively. Why listen? I know him. He's not like that. You need to trust him. Wine nodded but remained silent. The two headed toward the canteen. When Wine entered, she saw Jungkook laughing with Mira. She rolled her eyes and walked to their table. What? What? She retorted with attitude. Can't you give us some privacy? Privacy, my foot. You don't own the canteen. Mira scolded back, but quickly remembered Jungkook was beside her, softened her expression. Why? Don't act so childish. What am I doing? You are the one who always ignores me. Don't start here. Tim gently held Vine's arm, trying to calm her down. No, let me speak today. What does he think of himself? I don't need his attention. Give it to someone who wants it. She shot a look at Mira. Would you stop your drama? You're just disgusting. You can't talk to Jungkook like that. She snapped, storming off. Tim followed her, not looking back. Tim hugged Wine tightly, trying to calm her down. Don't let this get to you. Talk to him softly, okay? Ask him if he likes someone else. Wine wiped her tears but remained stubborn. I am not like that. I have self respect. I will just ignore him. After college, Wine went home with Theon, skipping both lunch and dinner. Choco came to the kitchen, expecting food but saw it was empty. He sighed, frustrated but also stubborn, and went to bed without eating. Wine lay in bed, her thoughts swirling. Oh my god, he didn't eat anything. Sorry, my hubby, but you made me cry. I want revenge. She too skipped dinner and fell asleep. The next morning, Wine made breakfast and called Tim, who was on his way. Hugo came downstairs looking for breakfast. Where is my breakfast? I didn't make it. Go ask your Mira baby to make it for you. You are my wife, not she. I'm getting late, she said, ignoring him as she headed out the door with Theon. Chubbuck slammed his fist on the table in frustration before heading to college. At college, Wine ignored him all day, laughing with Theon. While Mira made it clear she was trying to get Jungkook's attention. Jungkook, would you like to help me with this problem? Would you like to shut your mouth? You are the biggest problem here. Mira went quite intimidated. At the canteen, Wine and Teung were laughing together when Teung accidentally got mayonnaise on her lips. Wine laughed, took a tissue, and wiped it off for him. Teung thanked her, but Jungkook snapped. He couldn't hold his anger any longer. He stormed over, grabbed Wine by the wrist, and pulled her into an empty classroom. Wine's heart skipped a beat when Jungkook suddenly pulled her into the empty classroom. Before she could say anything, he slammed the door shut and locked it behind them. His presence was overpowering. And Wine couldn't help but feel the intensity of his anger radiating off him. Without warning, Chungo grabbed her face, his lips crushing into hers in a fierce kiss. Chungo pulling away for a breath. You are doing this on purpose, huh? His voice was low, heavy with emotion, and his breathing was weak. Wine could barely speak, her body trembling from the sudden rush of emotions. What am I doing? Jungkook stared into her eyes, his gaze intense and almost desperate. He cupped her cheek roughly as if trying to make her understand something. You think I don't care about you? Huh? That message you saw it, didn't you? Wine's eyes widened and she nodded, still just trying to speak. Who was it? Why were you so attentive with her? You never talked to me like that. Jungkook's jaw clenched and his expression softened just a little. Though his anger was still evident. She is no one. Just some girl who doesn't know her place. I deleted the message right after you saw it. His voice was firm, almost pleading, as if he needed her to believe him. Wine's mind was racing, struggling to comprehend everything. So you didn't like her? No, I don't love her. I love you. I always have. You're the only one for me. Once heart fluttered at his words, and her breathing hissed. Her earlier doubts seemed to melt away as she looked into his eyes. Suddenly, the air between them seemed to thicken, and without thinking, Wine pulled him toward her, capturing his lips in a kiss that was both fierce and full of longing. Jungkook responded instantly, deepening the kiss as if he couldn't get enough of her. They both lost themselves in the moment, the rest of the world fading away. When they finally broke apart, their foreheads resting together. Jungkook's voice was a soft whisper. Don't ever doubt me again, Wine. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have doubted you. It's just I got scared. She looked up at him, her eyes full of vulnerability. I love you, Jungkook, and I trust you. Jungkook's expression softened as he pulled her into a tight embrace, his hand gently stroking her hair. I love you too. Wine, don't ever think I would betray you. You are my queen, the only one who owns me completely. Don't know how I have controlled myself this long, but not anymore. He smiled, his gaze dark and full of intent. You have got no idea what you do to me, sweetheart.